With the release of Grounded's 1.2 Super Duper update, the upper yard has been invaded by a new threat, the Wasp Queen and her swarm of wasp and drone minions. I'll be walking you through how to prep and beat the Queen, easy peasy. Let's get to it. The Queen is located deep inside her hive, situated inside of the Brawny Boy bin, which is located here against the upper wall. Before you can even gain access to this fight, you'll need to have destroyed a minimum of 2 mini nests scattered across the upper yard, and then rest for a cutscene for an entrance to the nest to be made open. Once inside, make your way through the bin to the very end, where you'll gain access to the hive itself. But there's still one more step. You'll need to make your way over to this section and loot this skeleton for the recipe to summon her, the BBQ Melody. Craft it, then return, and you can start the fight. Before jumping head first, I suggest you take the time to prepare because it can get ugly in there if you mess up. She has multiple unblockable attacks and several nasty debuffs, notably bleed, poison, and venom. She also summons some adds a third the way in that can make things even more chaotic. All said, I think this boss is harder than the Broodmother, but not as hard as the Mantis. Definitely late or endgame stuff though. For prep, melee or ranged, both options are completely viable here. I've successfully defeated her with a variety of builds and learned a few tricks. From her stats, we can see she's 25% weak to salty, but has a long list of resistances: 25% resistant to spicy, chopping, slashing, 50% resistant to explosive and stabbing, and 75% resistant to gas and poison. For melee options, some great choices include the Club of the Mother Demon with the mutation Barbarian and Apex Predator. This hits extremely hard and the venom bypasses her resistances. The Salt Morningstar paired with a shield while using Barbarian. This weapon was buffed and it now hits very hard, especially with us exploiting her weakness. Coupled with Barbarian, your combo is going to chunk hefty amounts of her health while affording you the defensive option of the shield. Other good melee options are the Mitt Mace and Fire Ant Club, as these avoid any of her resistances and are hard-hitting weapons. It's definitely worth your time to infuse your weapon of choice with salty if that's an option. Your armor choice is largely up to you, but I suggest Black Ox armor or roly-poly to reduce any damage you'll take. For ranged players, your best option is by far magic with the staves, specifically the Spicy and Sour Staff. The Spicy Staff is great as your main damage dealer, while you use the Sour Staff to quickly take out adds. The Sour Staff has been buffed in this update, and it's a monster when dealing with flying creatures now. It hits hard, and it can juggle and stun your enemies out of the sky very quickly, keeping you safe from all of the hard-hitting attacks. See my Ox Wizard build above if you want more details on this kind of a build. Bows are completely doable as well. The best choice you probably have is the Black Ox crossbow, but eventually after you've beaten her, the Bard's bow is really good here. I'd bring a hefty supply of salt arrows, but also be sure to pack a stack of the new pollen arrows. These new arrows are the Ranger's secret weapon against the Wasp minions. You can ground a minion in as few as one shot with these bad boys. As for the Ranger's armor, you guys are gonna have a harder time here. Range gear is light, and that's definitely not a great thing in this fight. She has a couple unblockable attacks, and one of them is very difficult to reliably dodge. You'll definitely need more smoothies than a melee build. If you need some build ideas, check out my top 5 bow builds up above for some further help. Whatever gear you pick, make sure everything's upgraded to no lower than +8. This is definitely endgame stuff. For your heals, it's always good to pack a few bandages, but you'll want a hefty supply of beefy smoothies until you get the hang of this fight. I'd bring in at least 15 for your first engagement. You'll want at least half your supply to be the new smoothie, Waspidote. It gives you poison resistance and will instantly cure any basic form of poison you're currently afflicted with, which is going to be quite frequent in this fight. The other half of your smoothies, I suggest human food to reduce how much damage you take, because it can can add up fast if you make mistakes. Don't forget to chow down on the new meal Wasperol as well. This speeds up your exhaustion recovery and increases your poison resistance even more. You're gonna need it. Your mutations. There's 3 that you should save room for if you can. In order of importance: Mithridatism, Spicy Safety, and Cardio Fan. Mithridatism is essential to minimize all the poison attacks. Much like the Black Widow, she can inflict multiple stacks of poison as well as venom, and for extra fun, a bleed effect as well. Spicy Safety is great because the majority of her attacks are stabbing damage, meaning rank 2 will reduce the damage of her initial attack in half. Cardio Fan is good because you need to constantly keep moving in this fight. Staying still will get you heavily punished. Now this is a 3-phase fight, with her defense and resistances getting higher in each successive phase. In her first phase, she has access to 5 attacks. The first is her poison shot. She growls while pulling her abdomen up behind her, then a second and a half later shoots a fast-moving green barb at the player. This attack is very fast, is unblockable, and inflicts poison and a debuff to your defense. In the first phase, this is her bread and butter attack. She can spam it multiple times in a row. It's very difficult to reliably avoid it, but it is possible. What I found to work is to always be strafing left or right and jump a split moment before it hits you. If you're moving fast enough and you time the jump well, the AoE will just barely miss you, saving you from one of her worst attacks. The second is a poison bombardment. She growls and curls her abdomen forward. Her abdomen begins to make a pumping motion. Then 1.5 seconds later, she begins to wildly lob poison bombs around her in a wide circle pattern. Each inflicts mild damage but adds up quickly as the bombs are tightly clustered. These bombs will also apply poison and have a chance of applying one of 2 debuffs: a reduction to your parry windows for an entire minute, or a hefty debuff to all forms of healing. A beefy smoothie will go down from healing 2/3 of your health to only about 20% of your health, and this lasts for 20 seconds. Thankfully, all of her poison bomb attacks are very easy to avoid. For this attack, simply stand right underneath her for the duration of this move. You will rarely be hit by one bomb, but this usually only happens if she's close to the wall or the ground. This is a great chance to get off free damage, so be sure to really go ham on her here, guys. The third is a stinger attack. She makes a lower pitched growl while spreading her legs out and straightening her body before lunging at you with her stinger a second later. This inflicts moderate damage as well as a bleed effect for 10 seconds. This move can be easily blocked, or even better parried, by blocking just as the stinger comes at you. This attack hits in a very wide AoE, so don't think you're safe if you're far away from her. Make sure you block. Her fourth is a loop-de-loop sting attack. She'll make 2 sideways loops in the air before lunging at the player with her stinger, inflicting massive damage as well as inflicting bleed and occasionally venom. This attack is very well telegraphed and can easily be parried. Wait for her to finish her 2 loops. She'll hover in place, charging a heavy attack, then a second later lunges at you. At this moment, parry to negate this attack completely. Her fifth move, I'll call all tuckered out. After performing many attacks, she's programmed to occasionally land. Don't be fooled though. Her landing comes in hard and inflicts moderate damage in an AoE, as well as a stamina exhaustion recovery debuff for 20 seconds. Sometimes you get lucky and she lands away from you, but more often she purposely tries to land right on top of you. It may be possible to parry this, but in all my many attempts, I was never able to successfully do it. Once she's on the ground, you have a solid 10 seconds where she does absolutely nothing. Use this precious time well, get in lots of heavy damage, or recoup your HP if it's low. Phase 2 seems to trigger when you get her to around 2/3 of her health bar. She generally starts this phase off by immediately summoning adds. She can use all of the attacks from the first phase as well as some new ones. Her sixth attack is that summon ability, where she calls 2 standard wasps to aid her in combat. In my opinion, This is the hardest part of the entire fight. Thankfully, she only summons once in the entire battle. Your best strategy is to take out the adds with overwhelming damage as quickly as possible, because the boss is not going to relent on bombarding you with attacks during this phase. Keep in mind, the boss's attacks will also hurt her own minions. Her 7th attack is a successive poison bomb. She growls while pulling her head and abdomen together. Her abdomen will begin to shake, and a moment later she lobs 2 to 3 poison bombs in succession at your position. These bombs take about a second to explode in a small AoE, inflicting heavy damage and the same debuffs from her bombardment attack, poison, and a healing debuff. This attack is very easy to avoid. Simply jog or run either left or right until the attack is ended. Seriously, you don't even need to run. Just make sure you don't clip into something, as there's lots of bumps on the floor of the arena. Her final phase, phase 3, seems to trigger around half health. She gains access to one new attack, as well as all of her other attacks except the summoning ability. This is arguably the easiest phase, as she doesn't spam her poison shot attack like she did in the first phase. Her final attack is a 3-hit combo. She typically flies close to you, sways side to side, attacking you from your left, then right, then from straight back, all in perfect rhythm. Each hit inflicts moderate damage, but the full combo will leave your health bar very depleted even if you're full. Thankfully, this move is easily parried by blocking 3 times in rhythm. Just keep in mind, a perfect block is not going to end the combo, so you have to parry all 3. If parrying is not your forte, continue to hold block on your weapon, or even better, a shield, up for the duration of the attack. This will fill your block meter significantly, so just keep that in mind. Other than that final attack, the rest of this phase plays out like a milder version of the last 2 phases. Keep agile, constantly moving, ready to jump that poison shot, and block any stinger attacks. Punish her heavily when she uses her bombardment move, when she lands, or anytime she's low to the ground right after she's finished an attack. Keep to this strategy, she's gonna go down nice and easy for you. Something worth noting, if at any point you notice that your health is depleting very fast, you likely have multiple DOTs. It could be any combination of poison, venom, and or bleed. These are very good moments to pop your new Wasp Queen smoothie, as this will instantly clear the poison as well as provide a nice hefty heal. This can be the difference of life or death if you make too many mistakes. Trust me guys, once you're familiar with their patterns, this is a very simple fight. Once you have that down pat, you can do this fight without even using smoothies. If you're trying to farm or trinket or to get more drops, make sure to equip the new mutation, Dissection Expert, as this significantly increases your chance of getting rare drops and increasing the number of drops on kills. You can get this mutation by finding the new Burgle chip. This is found inside the same Brawny Boy bin inside of this Wiffle Ball and returning it to Burgle, then purchasing it in the shop. That's all I got for you guys today. I hope you found this guide helpful and managed to take her down without much fuss. If you have any questions, please comment and I'll be happy to give you a helping hand. Be sure to subscribe and turn your notifications on, because I'm going to be having more content covering the 1.2 update very soon. For those of you that follow my channel, I want to give you all a heads up that in all likelihood, I'm going to start covering Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom shortly after it releases in mid-May. Yeah, I know it's a different console entirely, but the truth of the matter is, I do this for fun. I've got to follow my heart, guys. I'll keep you all in the loop as we get closer to that date, but that's the current plan. Thank you all for your support. See you all next time.